The will to not procreate due to intense suffering and the endless pain, along with the occasional happiness that life brings, is termed as antinatalism. Right from the child's birth, born into this world, eyes shut and crying, the child's life begins with experience that would not be considered happy by any standards. From birth to death, life is full of suffering, death, breakups, tragedies, deceit, cheating, lying, killing, illness, both physical and mental, genocide. Life is full of things we wouldn't want on our worst enemies. Why then would one choose to give these experiences to their own blood, their children? Antinatalism coincides with some of the original beliefs of Buddhism, which is that existence is suffering, and the best form of lasting peace and happiness is moksha, or the joining of one's consciousness with the universe, also known as Samädhi. This is achieved only through the course of equalizing your good deeds and your bad deeds in order to prevent yourself from endless birth and rebirth, also known as saṃsāra. Now, one of the ways that this is achieved is through complete acceptance of the evil and the good in life, and being a neutral entity, having a third person perspective of life until you cease to exist, preferably through Vipassana. To the logical but sympathetic being, antinatalism is but the obvious outcome that one arrives at after living in the world for a few years. People strive and struggle and go through shit that one would not be ever willing to choose to go through, just because they're born and there's nothing you can do about it otherwise. Now that one is born, they enter the rat race, going through suffering, death, breakups, tragedies, deceit, cheating, lying, raping, killing, and illness, both physical and mental. And for what? To maximize shareholder value? To add another zero in the stock price of the next big company on this small ball of an inexistent planet, while being paid peanuts and living paycheck to paycheck? What a waste. Antinatalism believes in exiting this never ending cycle. It comprises of the DINKS, dinks, or the dual income no kids, the dinkwads, or the dual income no kids with a dog, and the Ryan Goslings of the world. The trend of antinatalism is more commonly seen among men than women, and usually with high IQs. Is seen more among diagnosed psychopaths. It is so much more evident and increasingly growing. Declining fertility rates in developed nations testify towards the growing global popularity of antinatalism, and now it is also gaining traction in metropolitan centers of developing nations such as in India. Antinatalism as a compassion-motivated ethical doctrine has spread in recent years through online forums, most notably Reddit and Reddit/antinatalism community on Reddit, whose membership more than doubled in a single year from August 2019 to August 2020. Antinatalist awareness groups and pages have blossomed on Facebook in the past few years. Google Trends Analytics indicates that antinatalism as a search term has steadily grown in search volume in the last decade. The ethical premise of antinatalism runs along similar lines. An embryo's consent cannot be sought. The human life being produced did not consent to be brought into existence. Add to the very real and considerable prospect of the baby suffering in some form of disorder, disability, or impairment, more so in recent times. To sum it up, living is a painful thing, but dying is more so. The antinatalist argues that it is thus humane to not materialize a consciousness, or only for it to painfully disappear into the nil of the void again. We are so tied to life, obviously, that it is hard to detach and look at it from a person perspective, questioning whether the romanticization, the glorification, and aestheticization of life as a beautiful gift or even a moral duty is always justified. Maybe having a child is akin to sculpting a beautiful sentient snowman on the last night of winter, or creating the gingerbread man in a kitchen full of rats and mold. The rise in antinatalist belief appears to have coincided with the growing awareness of climate change and the alarming growth of the probability of the near future devastation of our planet. Antinatalism is often seen as a sensationalist stance, a fringe ideology assumed by the desensitized, misanthropic radicals seeking the limelight. But it is perhaps the most empathy driven and considerate of philosophical theories, with a simple yet profound insight. It is based in human experience and the heroic desire of not letting another go through the same suffering as yourself. I, for one, would adopt a child and give them the good lifestyle and loving society and family that I have been blessed to have been born into. But given the choice, would choose to remain single than be with a partner adamant of having a child of our own blood because they're considered more loyal than adopted children and bring the bloodline forward. Yeah, like I belong to some Aryan race with perfect genetics, genius, or some rare blood type that I must be preserved. I'm Indian for God's sake. Out of the 8 billion, 1.4 billion are Indians. I promise you the world will be the same, if not better, with me in it. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our accountability towards our own species, whose unsustainable continuation we are conditioned to undertake as a duty. We are already exercising utmost caution not to pass on one potentially fatal, agonizing ailment to another human. What's keeping us from preventing the communication of another, the most common and universal one, life itself? Hello there. Thank you for staying until the end of the first video of many philosophical discussions that I plan to post in the future. The question has been a personal diary of sorts to me. I have been wrestling with the concept of to be or not to be for quite some time, and personally believe in the concept of ending humanity and consciousness by choosing to not bring about new life as the biggest contribution one can do to get rid of human suffering. Instead, adopt and give existing life the least amount of pain and suffering that they would have gotten had they been an orphan. And if you think you and your life have some point of time have felt the same, let me know that I'm not going crazy in the comments below. Or if you think this opinion is bullshit and willful mass extinction is socially harmful, do let me know in the comments below. I plan to make a video discussing the arguments against antinatalism, play both sides of the chessboard, and I'll be sure to feature your opinion in the next video. Thank you for watching. See you at the TMI Diaries next time. This is your host, Hussain Kapasi speaking.